Okay, so before we talk about how e-learning can foster the entrepreneurial spirit, which is going to be, I'm excited to talk about that with you. Let's take another quick survey and find out about the learning cultures already existing at your organizations. So the question is, how would you describe the learning culture of your company? We'll get a little feel for where we're all at. Okay, so we got a couple folks in a traditional culture, some in a traditional kind of transitional, some in an optimized situation, some in the middle of transitioning, or it's all e-learning. Actually, they're digital age, but it's all e-learning. Don't tell you now. A lot of folks in transition, kind of in between. You have some e-learning. There's room to integrate the e-learning into a full digital age of learning culture. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, your information. Some folks still weighing in. Great. All right. It's fantastic to have such a range of learning cultures present today. All right. Thank you for participating. Okay, so now let's talk about how a rich e-learning enhanced training program facilitates a growth mindset, organizational culture. We often think of the growth mindset as an individual experience, an individual outlook, something that's happening with self-talk, and that is true. But a growth mindset is also something that's constructed by cultural norms. Traditional school environments, and many of us can relate to that. Yeah, I see a heart there. That's such a great video. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. Do Schools Kill Creativity by Sir Ken Robinson. It's all about this. Traditional work environments also emphasize suppressing the restlessness and movement, both mental and physical, associated with curiosity. But we can create in our organizations learning cultures that foster, or rather, I would say, liberate innovation. A digital age learning culture, this new world, frees us from the necessity of personal knowledge storage using our own limited brain's capacity. This freedom fosters, as its natural byproduct, a growth mindset. So let's return to our story. In the company with a traditional learning culture, the old world, learning is, I would say, pathologized. And I don't think it's too strong a word. When an employee forgets what was covered in a training, and I think of that person who said they wanted some learning so they could cover it when they forgot it, but they didn't want people to know that they'd forgotten. When they forget what was covered in a training, the language around learning is suggestive of trouble or illness. The employee needs support or help. Here, so we can have a look. Any solution is delayed, and the experience may produce frustration. Asking a colleague for help disrupts the workflow. And these micro engagements produce what I would describe as ambient negative emotion. It's low key, but it's there. And the inefficiencies the process produces compromises innovation. Think of that day spent by each employee each week simply looking for the information they need to do their jobs. So while inefficient, this traditional training process was, for a few hundred years, really seemingly just the best we could do. That's where everybody was. and this company simply continues to accept these limitations. Now, in the company pursuing a digital age learning culture, in the new world, the learning experience is radically different. When an employee forgets what was covered in a live training, as you do, on-demand learnings provided by the employers communicate that forgetting is no problem. The necessary learning is expected and encouraged. Learning is assumed, normalized. Learners can go on to use the e-learning resources to actively solve problems while remaining in their work environment. A way of learning while doing, as I mentioned before, for which we're biologically wired. The learning is pushed to employees at the point of need, augmenting forgetting. Rather than feeling anxiety or frustration or annoyance, employees can engage their curiosity. So you get that low-key ambient positive emotion. The availability of learning tools supports curiosity, and experimentation naturally follows. This is where entrepreneurialism, or what Eric Ries in his book, The Lean Startup, calls entrepreneurialism, which is entrepreneurialism internal to an organization, can naturally arise. Folks get curious, folks start trying stuff. So in this company, the e-learning enriched training program taps into each employee's natural capacity to pursue ongoing adaptation within a dynamic system, engaging our instinct to find novel solutions. We love doing that. Without intentional transformation, one company has unhappy employees, or less happy than they could be, inefficiencies that are no longer competitive, and an outdated fixed mindset. While the other company has emergent innovation.